Chase is wide receiver. One.
Tell your grandma. Joe Burrow. Tell your mom. Tell Bob. From accounting.
Tell your grandma. One. Javante season.
It's throat punching season.
It's throat punching. It's throat punching.
It's throat punching season. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. Tell your mom.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
What is going on, good people? You are watching the Fantasy Football Show, and everything about this show, news, bold predictions, we're going to break down a lot of stuff, begins in 1 minute and 15 seconds. I do want to thank every one of you for helping grow this channel, and I'm so pumped about what's in store for us in 2022. We're going to take Monday through Friday by storm. We're live every single Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tell everybody you know, because we're taking over. We've got an ARod to Tennessee potential scandal brewing, NFL scandals. Shouldn't call the ARod thing a scandal necessarily, but ARod buying a home in Tennessee. Pretty interesting stuff. Brian Flores stuff, we got to talk about that. We got a lot to talk about. Kenny, first in the building. Shout out to you, pal. Appreciate you being here. Tyreek, what's up, good buddy? I'm feeling a little better. Smitty was under the weather yesterday. I had to call the show pretty short, but I came in. I did work. I showed up for work. And then exited out the back door. But we're back. We're doing it live. It's Thursday, and we got a lot to break down. The Fantasy Football Show begins now.
And now, for the news.
We do have a lot of news on our screen. A lot to talk about relating to the NFL, relating to Brian Flores, relating to the Giants, the Broncos, Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Akers, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, you name it. But I think we should start off with this NFL scandal that's like making waves everywhere. Look, there's a lot to unpack. And the God's honest truth. You guys come to me for one reason. I'm going to give you my honest take and my honest opinion on this stuff as it comes in. I'm not going to pander to anybody's, normalcy or whatever. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. Okay, a lot of bad stuff. Some of it we don't know for sure, that there's a whole lot of facts behind it. Some of it looks awful. Like it's a combination of it. I think for people to assume every single report about this is true and facts, I think that's a blind way to look at this. There's unfortunately going to be a lot of true and untrue things going on. And we'll start off with this Bill Belichick text message, which ignited pretty much everything that we're talking about right now. But Coach Bill Belichick reportedly thought he was texting Dable and talking about him getting the Giants job, and he said, this is my Bill Belichick voice, so I'll use the megaphone. Bill Belichick says to Brian Flores, Bill Belichick, BB, up top, see this? This is Brian Flores' text message, and Bill Belichick sending him the messages on the left, thinking he's talking to Dable, and he goes, sounds like you've landed. Let me talk like Bill. Sounds like you've landed. Congrats. And then Brian Flores, Bill thinks supposedly, there's some theories that Bill did this on purpose because Bill's so good at details. Bill plans everything to a T. So Flores responds to Bill Belichick, who we believe thinks is talking to Dable. And Brian Flores says, did you hear something I didn't hear? And Bill Belichick says,
Giants.
Flores replies, I interview on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it. Bill.
Got it.
I'm sorry. But reading this text, I feel like I could picture Bill saying it. It sounds just like this.
Got it. I hear from Buffalo and New York that you are their guy. Hope it works out if you want it to.
Hey, Bill, you also, let you know, Bill, you won the lottery.
Okay.
Like, he's so monotone. You could tell Bill Belichick you won the lottery.
Okay.
Bill Belichick, your car's on fire.
Okay.
It's just a monotone guy. So then Flores responds,
That's definitely what I want, and I hope you're right, Coach. Thank you. Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Dable? Just making sure.
And then Bill either planned all this, which is what a lot of people think. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people. So starting, and then there's this side on the left.
Sorry, I effed up. I effed this up.
Which makes me feel like this is real. I don't think Bill planned this. I think Bill really screwed it. Like, if anybody, I know Bill's meticulous with details, and I know Bill Belichick he plans everything. He doesn't make mistakes, right? But imagine this guy holding a cell phone, okay? I can picture it. I can picture Bill Belichick trying to operate a smartphone device. And I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Sorry, I effed this up. I double checked and I misread the text. I think they are naming Dable. I'm sorry about that. Double B.
And then Flores. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for ruining my day, Bill. Thanks for blowing this entire thing up. Now, some say Bill planned it to blow it all up. Some say Bill accidentally thought when he saw Brian got the job, if you read that, it says right here, I misread the text. So he double checked and he misread the text. Not necessarily saying he misread the name of who he was sending the text to. Almost like he's saying he misread the text of who got the job. And now he's coming back saying he effed it up. Now that could play into like Bill planned this, pretending he heard the wrong information, was congratulating him, then realized, oh, I'm sorry, it's not you. But some think that he just was texting the wrong person. There's all kinds of theories. You make the determination for yourself, but it all blows up. But here's where I'm going to say, pump the brakes a little bit on assuming every single piece of this entire equation is all correct. Okay? That's where Smitty comes to you with truth. I'm not trying to say that this isn't a problem. I'm not trying to say that the NFL doesn't look horrible. I'm not trying to say that there isn't horrible things going on in the NFL. There is absolutely, and there needs to be wide, massive change swept over this NFL. And a lot of it points to this man, Goodell. Like, maybe we need a clean, fresh start. Maybe Goodell doesn't need to be the head of the NFL, the face of the NFL anymore. We might need a fresh look at everything because this NFL looks awful right now. It looks awful, and there's a lot of truth to what's going on. But I'm just warning people to be cautious about taking every one of these potentially tied together situations and saying guilty, they're guilty, this is what's going on. Because there's a lot of other information that's coming out, and you got to digest it all before we start pointing fingers and saying the Giants did this for sure, the Denver Broncos did this for sure. Like Mr. Belichick, this is from the Giants. Mr. Belichick does not speak for and has no affiliation with the Giants, which is true. Like, you know, in a way, I'm not saying the Giants are innocent here at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it is an unfair position to be in when Bill Belichick is breaking news for your organization because he doesn't know how to use a cell phone. So let's, and we don't know what's going on. So Bill Belichick does not speak for us and has no affiliation with the Giants. Mr. Belichick's text exchange provides no insight into what actually transpired during the head coaching search. So there are some people saying that interviews took place here before this or after this. There's all kinds of timeline stuff being ironed out and brought to light right now. So we need to figure out what's really going on with this situation before we 100% say the Giants did this wrong. That's my point. There's a lot coming to light, and there's a lot that needs to change, but we need to not convict all these teams of these accusations that everybody's blanketly throwing out right now until we have more facts and information. That's all I'm saying. But this does not look good at a grand scale for the NFL. Chris Mortensen reports the NFL will investigate specific allegations that Brian Flores made concerning the Dolphins owner offering $100,000 per loss in incentives for 2019. That's going to be probably the biggest thing that comes down on the NFL that makes the NFL look absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. It's gonna get messy. A lot of things are going to get handed down, like punishment needs to be handed down. This is bad. I mean, this disrupts the integrity of the NFL. There's this betting that goes on. There are people putting their hard-earned money on the line. And if there's things being, and a lot of people say, this is awful, I can't believe this. And then other people say this happens all the time. And other people say this happens in other sports. Like, you really believe this is the first time it's happening? Like, nothing can change. There's different opinions and stances all over the place. So I want to make sure everybody just understands that there's a lot of layers to this, is my point. Elway reporting this. Now, here's an example. Like, let me just tell you, okay? I'm not trying to say there isn't truth to some of the claims or anything, but this is one of those things where I feel like when bad news is breaking, everybody's blaming everybody and not giving the benefit of the doubt to any other parties. Like, in this situation, Broncos executive John Elway released a statement Thursday calling the claims that he appeared disheveled and hungover at the 2019 interview with Brian Flores false and defamatory. Look, I'm going to say this right now, and this may not sit well with some of you, because I am 100% in support of making change and making sure stuff doesn't happen that shouldn't be happening in the NFL. But this claim, and I listened to the interview by Brian Flores, and I listened to the interview, and it wasn't, the things he was saying was like they looked like they showed up and they weren't like taking the interview too seriously or something. Like, there's a lot of assumptions, a lot of connecting dots. I don't think this Denver situation should be being brought in like it is and being tied to this entire thing. Like, they're part of this huge, big conspiracy of massive racism in the NFL in regards to hiring, when they literally show up, and I believe the reports and the flights and all the stuff that Elway's trying to back up, backing up with facts, that they flew in at 2 a.m., had the interview at 7 a.m., they were totally tired. And when I listened to the interview, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of evidence at all that something crazy was going on at this Denver level, the Denver Broncos situation. So that's where I'm saying, make sure you're not tying everything together and just assuming every single team is guilty of this. You know what I mean? That part seemed kind of crazy to me. I hope Flores takes one of them out. Flores has a huge case here. Like, this is bad. The NFL has they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And the biggest thing we got to look at, I think, the Denver situation, I don't really see it as that big of this specific situation. I'm not saying in general. The Denver situation, I'm looking at the facts on that, and there's no conclusion you can draw from that, okay? They made a hire. You have one person's perspective that they didn't seem interested while they're interviewing you. That's a perspective. Like, I'm removing the Denver situation from all of these as being a huge problem. That specific scenario, that interview, the fact that they looked like they were tired or disheveled, that part I'm going to not necessarily include. This Miami Dolphins situation is horrible. To offer an individual $100,000 per loss is just a travesty. Like what that does for the integrity of the league is I can't even put into words. You know, and there's a lot of people saying there needs to be white coaches that come out and speak about this too, to see if there are any of these offers heading in the direction of a white coach, because now you have another issue of discrimination, which I feel like is something that needs to be looked into. If this is only happening with the black coach, that is a problem. Like, there are so many problems at play here. There's so many problems at play here. The Miami situation is awful. The Cleveland Browns situation is going to be awful. There's another scenario where Hue Jackson was either offered or accepted. We don't really know based on the reports out there. Some reports are saying Hue Jackson accepted money for losses, and he had 31 at 3 wins and 31 losses or something, and people are saying that's a payday right there. But I don't know. I had Hue Jackson on my show, and I really liked the guy, even though we disagreed tremendously on that Cincinnati Bengal thing, which I feel pretty vindicated on. Hue, you came on here, you told me it was a tall order for what happened to happen, and it happened. I told you, Hugh, the Bengals winning the division. Jamar Chase was the answer. This team was going to be what they are who we thought they were. Even though that whole interview was a little strange with the Cincinnati Bengals stuff, I will admit. I went back and watched it. I'm like, what's he arguing with me about? But I like Hugh. He seems like a really good dude. He's really well liked. He's got his hands on a lot of charities. And there's a lot of reports that Hugh accepted the money because of the verbiage of what he said and how he said it. But then there's an interview where Hugh tried to break it down and clarify, and he said that he wasn't exactly given money to lose, but he was given incentives based on numbers, and he's very vague about it. Numbers at the end of the year and the percentages, and then he'd be asked again, well, what do you mean? Were you specifically paid to lose? He's like, I didn't know at the time. I didn't understand it, is what he said. I didn't understand it. So it's like, it's very vague as to what really happened with Hugh. But here's another situation where you have another black coach told to lose games. So the only two scenarios we have right in front of us are that two black coaches were told, here, be our scapegoat, lose, we'll pay you to lose. Lose, we'll pay you to lose. And so that's a problem. That needs to be looked into. The NFL, are they the only two coaches that were offered? I mean, we know they're not the only two coaches probably ever offered money, but recently we got to find that out. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be dug into. NFL looks bad. I just want to make sure that just because a claim comes up, even with Flores himself, who everybody seems to love and believe his story, and I'm not saying anybody shouldn't, but just because he said Denver did this, or he felt it was unfair that Denver looked hungover during the interview when they were flying at 2 a.m., like that part is what I'm saying be careful of. Not every single thing here is going to be a problem, but there are a lot of problems at hand. A lot of problems at hand. This is awful. This is awful. Give it 5 years and there'll be at least 12 black coaches in the league. Flores just seems mad. Everyone doesn't think he's as good a coach as he thinks he does. That's what 49ers saying. Smitty, can you do a kickflip with the sleeper board? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, Jacob. Cold take, Hugh. Look, I like Hugh based on my conversations with Hugh. I think some of the people are taking his words and they're twisting them a little, and they're saying that he accepted money for losses. I don't know. I listened to Hugh's interview, and I'm a little bit. I admit I'm a little bit biased to like wanting to believe him because I had him on my show and I appreciate the guy in a lot of ways. But I'm not sure. The way he worded it was very vague, so I'm not sure what he's trying to say. Did he accept money? He's saying at the time he didn't understand it. He's saying he didn't understand it, but at the end there were percent. Like if you listen to the interview with, I think it was on ESPN. You listen to the interview, it was like at the end there were these percentages. They didn't make sense. and then they give me an extension before I win 3 games, or was it 3 games, and then my extension sitting there that no one knows about, like behind closed doors, essentially, is the way I took it, my interpretation of it. And so he was trying to say he was rewarded if the percentages at the end looked about like they did. So I don't know. I'm not sure what he's saying. But reports, Roto-World had it yesterday where it said, and I don't know that this is accurate. Where is that at? I don't know if this is accurate, but it was let me see if I can find it. I can't find it off the top of my head. But it says something like Hue Jackson accepted payments too, and then he's getting on board of this class action or whatever. I don't know. I'd like to hear it from Hue's mouth. Maybe, I don't think he'll come on and talk about it, but maybe I'll try and reach out to him and see if he can clarify. Because I don't want people saying this about Hue if Hue didn't accept money. Did Hue accept it or did he not? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say he did, even though there are reports. Roto-World, NBC Sports specifically said Hue Jackson accepted money. Let me see if I can find this clip. Because it's coming from Roto-World. It's not coming from me. I believe it's right here. So this is from NBC Sports Edge, which is, Roto-World converted into NBC Sports Edge. Former Browns head coach Hue Jackson implied on Twitter that Browns owner paid him to lose games. So, again, I don't know if that's being misinterpreted based on what Hugh said, but Hugh's stuff was very confusing. That's that, guys. I wish there was more to report on it. There isn't. We have more to come on the Denver situation, more to come on the New York Giants situation. Very, 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 I say be very careful to point fingers at both organizations and consider them completely guilty of any wrongdoing yet until more facts come out, because it isn't fair to say, hey, a guy didn't like that he wasn't hired. As much as I respect Brian Flores, as much as I appreciate what he's doing, look, Brian Flores may never get a job again. He may never get another coaching job again. All it takes is one team to have the courage to give him a job. But he may never get a job again because he's trying to stand up for something. And I appreciate that. Everybody here should appreciate what he's doing. But just because he's doing something great doesn't mean every single word out of his mouth is going to be accurate in terms of the situation. And his perspective was, the Giants didn't hire me. The Denver Broncos didn't hire me. And it's because I'm kind of feeling like there was something going on because they looked disheveled coming into my interview. I remember an interview one time where a guy had his feet up on the desk when I was a young kid, 20-something years, early 20s, right out of college. Dude had his feet on his desk, laptop on his lap. He's typing away on an email, wasn't listening to a word I said. It happens. It happens in the real world, baby. No, there are people that interview strangely, and there's some times where interviews are at inopportune times. I'm just saying it happens. I got the job, by the way. Dude wasn't paying attention to anything I said. It's one of my first jobs I had out of college. Dude was disheveled. He may have actually been hungover. He may have actually still been drunk, to be honest. Jimmy Garoppolo in the news here. Jimmy G. Beat writer Cam Inman speculates that the price for Jimmy Garoppolo in trade could be a day 2 draft pick, and there's been people saying he's worth the first rounder. Give me a break. Jimmy G is not worth the first round pick. Jimmy G is not worth the first round pick. He's not worth a second round pick potentially. I think you might get a third rounder. It is a very desperate running back market, though, and there are plenty of teams in need of a quarterback. They may overpay. There could be a situation where Jimmy G goes for like a conditional third that turns into a second or something like that. Here's another scenario, though, that a lot of people don't think to be true. I mean, he could get cut. There might not be a team out there that they might want him. The quarterback market is definitely dry, and there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. But many of those teams that want Jimmy and need a quarterback might not want to spend $27 million, even though that contract can be renegotiated. You don't know that. So on top of that, Jimmy G might actually, and people don't understand this, people that just come straight in and suggest that they have some, I don't know, insight on the situation when they really don't, is like, he wouldn't want to release Smitty. Why would he want to release? Because when you're at your final contract, like this is the last deal Jimmy G's really going to get, unless he's getting like these 1-year deals or whatever. You want to be somewhere where you could have longevity, where you can max out your contract. What good's going to a team on a 1-year deal when you can go to a team where you think you can succeed, sign a 3-year deal, and hit the whole 3 years? So Jimmy G may potentially want to be released because the trading partners are not partners he wants to be involved in. And if the right deal can't be struck, he might request a release, and that's not a knock on him. That is literally for his advantage. And on top of that, I don't know if he still has a no trade clause in his contract. He had one last year, but I don't know if it's still active or it's active to a certain time frame. But he might be able to say no to that, release me. But I think the team would release him versus trading him to a destination he doesn't want that's like a 4th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick. Like, I think the team will do him that way. They will want a 3rd-round pick. They want something. They don't want to necessarily release him for nothing, but I think they owe it to him. And I think that cost, that they're not getting rid of such a big high draft, capital by saying no, we'll release him. Also depends on the cap hit. I don't know the exact cap hit of releasing him versus trading him. But Jimmy G may not want to actually be traded to the wrong trading partner. We'll see what happens. But some people say Pittsburgh. I hope not. I hope he goes to Tennessee. Or I'm sorry. I hope he goes to not Tennessee. To Houston. Because there's no real fantasy football starters there that can be impacted or hampered by Jimmy G. So give him to Houston. Houston would trade for him. They're the kind of team that would trade for him. So, real talk, Smitty, would you like to happen with Jimmy G? Houston. That way he doesn't impact anything. I don't want him in Pittsburgh. He'd be okay in Pittsburgh. And I'm not like super tied to Deontay and Claypool. I like Freiermuth a lot. He might connect with Freiermuth a little bit. If he could stay healthy, it certainly would be a better upgrade than to the passing attack than an injured Big Ben and depleting Big Ben. But ultimately, I don't like it because I think he gets hurt. I'd rather have Tyler Huntley in Pittsburgh than Jimmy G. I want Tyler Huntley in Pittsburgh. I want Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, and I especially and most of all want Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Those are the quarterbacks I want in Pittsburgh because of what it does for Najee Harris. I think Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh would make Deontay Johnson a top 5 to 10 wide receiver right out of the gate, which would be great. It'd make Claypool a star. It'd make Freiermuth a star. But what I'm mostly worried about, even though I think those are good, things to keep an eye on and to hope for, I want Najee Harris to be a superstar. I want Najee Harris to get the touchdown production he would get under an Aaron Rodgers-led team in offense. I mean, talk about, amazing. That would be amazing. Wilson would be good. Tyler Huntley would be good. Tyler Huntley could steal some of Najee's touchdowns, so it would be the least ideal of the three. But in terms of getting a good offense, one that can move the chains down the field and get in the red zone often, and to get Najee in good positions, have good yards per carry, Tyler Huntley is the third option, but still way better than the rest of the options. So it goes Aaron Rodgers, it goes Russell Wilson. I mean, Deshaun Watson, of course, but right now we don't know what Deshaun is going to be in the picture. And then it goes Tyler Huntley. Last, but still higher than the rest because of the touchdown vulturing potential. So Jimmy G, that's that. We already talked about Brian Flores in extensive detail. That situation is going to get ironed out here shortly. Well, not ironed out, but like it's going to be the spotlight's going to be turned on heavy and high and bright on the situation here shortly. Like the NFL is going to look into it, but people are going to start poking around. It's going to get worse. especially if emails start getting released. Like, let's be honest. As much as John Gruden made his own bed, okay, let's not defend John Gruden because that would be stupid. But let's defend the right thing to do is to not release one man's emails, to know other emails exist, and then let other people get away with doing the same thing. You know, like if this is a problem amongst ownership and coaches and GMs, and there's a wide known issue, this is why we're where we're at right now with the Brian Flores situation. Is things get buried, and then everybody just tucks it away, pats the dirt on top, and moves on. All I'm saying is, if John Gruden's going to get hit, other coaches that deserve to get hit are going to get hit too. Those emails are going to come. This spotlight got turned on, and other spotlights are going to start getting turned on all over the place, and these things won't have anywhere to hide. You know, is what I'm thinking. Jalen Hurts, this Eagle team is doing everything it can to ruin this man. I might save this for the rant segment. But he had surgery on his ankle. I'm going to save the Jalen Hurts for the rant segment, which is next. Cam Akers' shoulder was sidelined for Wednesday and Thursday's practice. Akers banged up his shoulder in the first half of the NFC Championship game, but played through the questionable tag. He could require pain-killing injections, but he will almost certainly be out there against the Bengals in 10 days' time. Akers has been extremely inefficient, had an extremely inefficient postseason, averaging 2.8 yards per carry on 54 totes of the rock. Though he has at least been physical, Sony Michel did get more involved in the conference title game. 14.5 feels like a reasonable over-under for Akers' Super Bowl carries. Yeah, that sounds about right. 12 to 15 carries I think Akers will probably get. But look, here's the thing. You know, there's going to be two sides to this Cam Akers thing walking into 2022. You either believe in him or you don't. There's not going to be a lot of people in the middle. I have been one that's been very, very critical of Cam Akers. I've been one that does not feel he's going to be worth his draft value and draft capital on fantasy football draft day. There are too many red flags with Cam Akers. He's an injury-prone player. He's injury-prone. And every single person that says that I'm off base on that, like, you can say, you know what, I still like him. I get that. That's cool. That's a good stance. But don't tell me he's not injury-prone, okay? Don't. He was my number 2 avoid player for that specific reason. He tore his Achilles tendon. He's now been banged up already with a shoulder injury and runs an extremely high. And stop saying he's not going to potentially be prone to a leg injury. The numbers are there. These are facts that I'm telling you. There's a high percentage, high percentage, and I'll even find the actual number, of lower body injury relating to an Achilles return. Because you're out there firing when it's still kind of healing and getting, on point. Like his Achilles tendon, there's no way, zero chance that is 100% recovered. Like, and you don't even know when it's going to be 100% because you can't test out game time and game-like scenarios in rehab and on practice. You're talking about full explosion, players hitting you with pads. They don't even hit as hard in practice. Like, you cannot compare or find scenarios to test out the Achilles. And he tried to come back in the 5th month of recovery, and he came back inside the 6th month of recovery, and he's playing on this thing. And the off kilter and out of alignment type of setup for his body right now, trying to recover from this. Worry about he's fumbling twice because he's probably so worried about his Achilles tendon and how that's feeling when somebody's coming near his leg. He's moving the ball away. There's so many innate instincts you move when you have something you're worried about on the field. If you come back and you're not trusting your knee from an ACL tear, or you're not trusting your Achilles, you're focused on so many other things. Ball security. There's a reason he had 2 fumbles. That was the reason. That was part of the reason he had the 2 fumbles, and he's not ready. Reckless. Injury concern. Why is he going in round 3 in mock drafts right now? Why is he going at the end of round 2 sometimes in mock drafts? It's reckless to draft him there. It's as reckless to draft him there as it is him coming back from an Achilles tear within 6 months of tearing it. It's just, there's no need for it. If you want a long career, why are you doing this? It's ridiculous. Champs doesn't think he'll ever be the same. Sonny says, I feel like Akers' stats were watered down from the game against the Bucks. They had a huge lead and were trying to force the game. That was a good defense, so it is partially true. Najee should be a fade due to the amount of touches he had this year. Ball's life. I get where you're coming from, but I'm gonna say I don't agree. But it's okay. It's a good. It's a legit stance, bro. But I think because he was a rookie, he can endure that. But it is a concern. He did get fed a lot. It's not something to like ignore, But I think I'm gonna be all in on Najee. But you never know how these things affect players, We don't always hear about, did he suffer some kind of injury? Is he going to walk into 2022 trying not to have surgery on a meniscus tear? Like, we're not told anything anymore. We're not told anything anymore, which is garbage. But I'm gonna put him at 2 or 3 overall. Like if Javonte got Aaron Rodgers, let's say, Javonte could move to 2. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Jamar Chase is in my 3 to 5 overall, which got shotted on like mad about a month ago when I did who are my top 5 overall players for 2022 redraft and dynasty, and Jamar Chase was in my top 5. That got shotted on constantly. And now I don't think people would even balk at that. Jamar Chase, number 5. Okay. Like, people were upset at that in that video. My own people coming at me during that video. But I'm going to say stay away from Cam Akers in 2022. Anywhere near his ADP. Anywhere near it. It is so ridiculously high. And now it's time for the Aaron Rodgers rant, baby.
Time for a Smitty rant.
Aaron Rodgers buying a home in Tennessee. But I thought he's returning to Green Bay, Smitty. No. Now, I don't know that this necessarily means he's going to Tennessee, but dude buys a home in Tennessee. People are all over the place on this right now. He's going to Tennessee. A lot of moving parts for trade, and we don't necessarily know that it would be a Tennessee situation, but he's on the move. He's clearly detaching himself from this Green Bay situation, which is what I get from it. I don't get a whole Tennessee vibe yet. It could happen, but I don't get a Tennessee vibe yet. What I get is a vibe of a man that's deucing. He says deuce. He takes his shirt off, throws it into the Green Bay crowd, and says, I'm out of here, and walks off into the tunnel because he's done in Green Bay. And I've got a lot of receipts on this one from a lot of other fantasy pages and analysts that have come at me saying, you're wrong, he's coming back to Green Bay. So I've got a hot chip challenge with one dude. A lot of people are going to lose some side bets on this Green Bay return for Aaron Rodgers. The writing's been on the wall. He goes on the Pat McAfee show all the time and says things that are underhanded toward the organization and that he likes playing with his teammates, but when asked, what about Green Bay? And there's grins going on. They already know the answer to the question. There's grins going on. Do you like playing in Green Bay? And bottom line is he laughs every time and says, I like playing with my teammates. He doesn't want to play in Green Bay. Let it go. He's gone. Aaron Rodgers is as good as gone from Green Bay. Let's stop talking about how he's going to return. And Adams, we don't know what's going to happen with Adams. Adams could get tagged. Adams could get tagged. There's a very good chance they tag Adams. They'd be smart to tag Adams. You'd be dumb not to tag Adams. But this is a team that could be in rebuild mode, which is what Aaron Rodgers has been saying he wants no part of. And Green Bay comes back and says, "No, we're not in rebuild mode. We're just gonna build around Jordan Love. We're not in rebuild mode. We're not building out of rebuild. We're building out of love, baby. We're building out of love. We're gonna build this thing from the love up." It's out of Jordan Love, who isn't a thing. Jordan Love's not a thing. I promise you he's not a thing. I've seen him play football. Quarterbacks is what I know probably best. And Jordan Love is not a thing. I can tell you that right now. He's not a thing like Trey Lance is a thing. Trey Lance, top 5 potential quarterback in 2022. At me all you want. At me all you want. I've got all kinds of content on that. But Aaron Rodgers is gone. He's nowhere to be found if you're sitting in Green Bay looking for him. And Brett Favre said the other day he thinks he's going to return to Green Bay. That's fine. That's fine. I don't think Brett Favre has any insight into this situation than anybody else. He doesn't know what's going on in Aaron Rodgers' mind. And I bet you anything, he doesn't even know who Pat McAfee is, where this man is on every Tuesday to talk about things like this. And people that haven't watched his reaction and watched him, how he responds when he's asked about Green Bay, what he says about the organization, how they treat him, how they've treated him for over a decade, how he's not a part of any kind of personnel. You know, if I'm in charge of personnel in Green Bay, let's say they hand me, Smitty, here you go. Thank you. Here's the keys and the playbook and your personnel man. You are head of all personnel decisions. There you go. Good luck. And I'm in Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? Hey, ARod, every Monday and Friday, let's have a cup of coffee. Sit down. Let me pick your brain. What do you think we need? What do you want? What can I provide you to get us a championship? But you know what ARod gets? Nothing. He gets Randall Cobb, who we didn't even know was going to play football ever again. He gets him. Hey, you want Randall Cobb? We can hook you up, Aaron Rodgers. We can give you Randall Cobb, but that's about it. This man has got nothing but Randall Cobb over the last decade, a decade and a half. This man wants to be involved. This man has ideas. He said, I've had ideas of how to change this, and they don't even care. They're not interested. He literally finds out probably after you do. Some of you have this feed. I'm watching football half the time in Arizona, and I'm always 5 seconds behind anybody in a live chat. I don't understand why Arizona's fed these games, every single game, red zone, on national TV, wherever it is. I'm always 5 seconds behind everybody when I'm streaming in an environment where I can read a chat. People ruin it for me. Touchdown. 5 seconds later, touchdown. I bet you Aaron Rodgers found out that Jordan Love was being drafted after about half of the country, because the only way this man found out was watching his TV. This man had to find out that the Packers wanted to potentially move on and shove him aside while watching television, like you and I, probably on a 5 second delay, probably found out later than you did. This man, Aaron Rodgers, deserves more respect than that. That's why he's going. You can't repair this with a Randall Cobb signing. You can't repair this with a pinky swear. We'll do better next year, ARod, in your last and final attempt. This man has watched Tom Brady become the GOAT. It probably frustrates him. It probably drives him. He's tired of having one championship to his name when Tom Brady's filling up all 10 fingers with all kinds of accolades. This man wants more. This man wants to go somewhere, win a championship, and say, I won 2 championships with 2 different teams, and I told you Green Bay was holding me back. Whether he's right or wrong, you know he left this Green Bay game against the Rams. The Niners. You know he left this Niners game saying to himself, I was held back. I wasn't given the proper support. I didn't have the weapons I needed. I'm throwing third and double coverage to Devontae Adams downfield, which a lot of people blame on ARod, but I'm trying to tell you, get in ARod's mind, because the only thing that matters is what ARod thinks. The only thing that matters is what ARod thinks and wants. So it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, but you know he's thinking to himself that I only have Adams, that's it. He's over there somewhere. Let me throw it up. That's how he feels. He doesn't want to feel that way anymore. And he put up a last dance photo with Devontae Adams on Instagram on their stories. They did it at the same time. They synced it up. It said last dance. Let's do one more run. They've already announced this was their last dance. Adams could get tagged. If he doesn't get tagged, if Green Bay says we want to build, we want to rebuild, even though we said we don't want to rebuild, we really do want to rebuild. They've been wanting to rebuild for years when they drafted Jordan Love instead of talking to ARod and finding out what ARod wanted. They've been rebuilding the moment they drafted Jordan Love and left Aaron Rodgers in a position where he felt unwanted. They've been rebuilding ever since. And so with the money tied up to Aaron Jones, I don't know that they want to necessarily tag Adams. There's a shot Adams gets to go where he wants to go. Maybe Adams goes wherever ARod goes. Maybe they both show up in... I mean, they could both show up in Denver. They could both show up in a Colts uniform. We don't know. But I do know that Aaron Rodgers probably will be traded to the AFC. I think Denver is probably the odds-on favorite. And you know Elway's going to overpay. You know the Broncos will overpay because they've been searching for a quarterback for years. They're probably willing to overpay at this point. An AFC team willing to overpay leaves Aaron Rodgers going out of conference. Tom Brady retires. I've talked about this before. It's Trey Lance, Kyler Murray. And then, Stafford, you could talk about Stafford and the Rams like, they're there. Stop disrespecting him, Smitty. They might just win the Super Bowl. But Stafford, in terms of a fantasy quarterback, he's 6-10, 6-12. He could float around in there. AFC, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Herbert, Aaron Rodgers goes from the NFC to the AFC. Aaron Rodgers, potentially, the top 5 quarterbacks in the league are in the AFC. That means Kyler and Trey. And you could say Daxon, hanging on to that tier. You could say Russell Wilson potentially hanging on to that tier if he even stays in Seattle. Because if he leaves, you really have a depleted NFC in terms of quarterbacks. You have Kyler and Trey, Stafford, Dak. That's the NFC. Kyler and Trey, in my opinion, will run the NFC. Run it. If ARod's elsewhere. ARod's leaving. Enough said.
It's voicemail time. Drop a voicemail at the Fantasy Football Show on the gram. Tell your grandma.
He'll punch you in the throat.
It is voicemail time. Good and beautiful people. Let's drop them right now. And I will hit them. Here's our first voice message from Kenny.
Hey Smitty, it's Kenny. Am I crazy to like Pitts at the turn in Dynasty?
Are you crazy to like Pitts at the turn in Dynasty? I wouldn't say you're crazy, but I would definitely say that is a tall order for this man to earn that kind of value. Like you're hold on one second, let me leave this message. Are you able to come on the show potentially tonight? I got a guy from EA Sports potentially coming on the Quad Box show that we might do tonight to see if he'll talk about Deebo Samuel and a couple other players that have a really low Madden rating. And we want to find out from his connections at EA how the process goes, why players haven't been upgraded, why maybe Deebo didn't get a mid-season bump. And so that was me leaving a message for him. So hopefully he's able to come on the Quad Box show tonight and talk about the Madden rankings. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot to ask out of Kyle Pitts to be a first, second round dynasty guy. Third, fourth round, like in that range, I like him more around that bottom of the third, top of the fourth, or maybe top of the third. I could get behind Pitts at top of the third, but it's still a lot to ask of him. You're putting yourself in a bad spot if this guy doesn't deliver. A real bad spot.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? It's Trey. What's your thoughts on the new Washington name, the Washington Commanders? It's pretty funny, eh? What'd you think?
It's the best name of the remaining names that they were deciding between. The Red Wolves was number one, Tariq. The Red Wolves was number one. I think most people feel that way. They did independent fan voting, and the fans spoke. They said, we want the Red Wolves. But they went away from that. I don't know why. Was it copyright reasons? Were they afraid it was going to offend somebody? I don't know. Who knows anymore? Everything offends everybody in today's world. But apparently they chose the Commanders. It's better than the Armada or the Senators or whatever. So Commanders is a strong name. It wasn't the strongest name. But I still have my Halloween. If anybody's wondering what this stuff is, I still have my Halloween stuff in the corner here. I've yet to put it away. That's a little creepy. I'm sure you guys are wondering why it looks like there's a body in the background. Smitty's got a body! Arm fell. Yeah, so I like Commanders. Commanders isn't bad. Presidents was funny. Like to have all these presidents walking around like huge hands, big energy, and look, we're the best team in the world. You know, this is Brock. Have all these presidents walking around, mascots everywhere, all over the stadium. Sleepy Joe wandering the field randomly. It would be great. And you can make, and that's an equal opportunity. I'm making fun of all presidents there. I don't want anybody thinking I'm being political here. I'm making fun of big hands. He's got big hands, big energy. I'm making fun of all sides of this, okay? So nobody get all upset because I made fun of one president and not the other. I made fun of both of them. I made fun of both sides. Gotta stay so correct. Gotta be on point. What's up?
It's
Lang.
How do you feel about Kyle Pitts walking in the next season? I understand the talent's there, but the problem is on this Falcons offense, I don't think Matt Ryan is nearly the answer anymore. And man, he should be getting targeted. A lot more than what he does. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I think we got to keep in mind that Pitts had one of the better rookie tight end seasons we've ever seen. Know what I mean? The problem is, Lang, you had an expectation like everybody, and you're not alone, that this guy was going to be like a wide receiver one. And he wasn't. He was an amazing tight end, rookie tight end. Like he had a Jeremy Shockey-esque season. One of the best tight end seasons ever. So put it in perspective there and realize he's doing it already. People just expected way too much. But I don't think people should expect Kelsey right now, maybe in a year or two. And I do worry about the quarterback situation long term. I think that team could dip a little bit, but this dude is a great player.
What's up, Smitty? Have a question for you. What do you think about the new name of the Washington football team to the Washington Commanders?
Yep, so already hit that. Ryan, appreciate you asking the question. Strong name.
Hey, Smitty, if the Buffalo running back room stays the same, where do you see Devin Singletary going into 2022? I know he was pretty much a ghost all of last year, but then the last 5 or 6 weeks, he was a borderline RB1. So where do you see him in 2022?
I think he's got good upside. He didn't average good yards per carry, though. He had touchdowns, massive amounts of touchdowns. He had, was it 7 touchdowns in 5 games or what exactly the number was, but he had a massive amount of touchdowns, low yards per carry in the 2-point-something range, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. Yeah. I think I'm remembering that right. I think he's going to be potential trap, but also a good value if people forget about him. If people don't want to buy into him, then he'll be a good value. If people are going to draft him as a running back too, I think they could be in some trouble. I don't think he'll necessarily produce number 2 running back numbers in fantasy.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty? It's Tariq. What's your thoughts on the new Washington name, the Washington Commanders?
So a common question for a lot of you, obviously, and I've already responded to that. But yeah,
it's Tariq again. What are your 5 takes or top 5 tight ends going into 2022?
We'll leave that as the last question of the day, and then we're going to go to speed round real quick before the show ends. We're running out of time. My rant was quite long, so I apologize for that in advance there. Let's see. top 5 tight ends. I'm going to say for 2022 redraft, it's going to be Kelsey still. It's going to be potentially Andrews. It's either going to be Pitts or Kittle. You know, I think Pitts could be number 3. I think Kittle is too inconsistent. We don't know. But I think with Trey Lance, Kittle could emerge again. So Kittle at number 3, Pitts at 4. It wouldn't be opposed to either one of those swapping. I think Darren Waller needs to be number 5. And I think that you've got like a race between Hawkinson, Freiermuth, and Knox for that next spot. Maybe even Schultz, maybe Goddard. It's a good top 10 tight end class. You've got a lot of big names. Fant, I didn't even mention Fant. Fant's not even in that top 10. Higbee, who got hurt, but he's not in the top 10 necessarily. It's Goddard at 10, Schultz at 9, and then that combination of Hawkinson, Freiermuth, Knox at that 6, 7, 8 spot, Waller at 5, Pitts and Kittle at 3, 4, 4, 3, and Andrews and Kelsey at the 1 and 2. That's kind of how I feel about that. Now we're going to speed round. Let's go.
It is time for the speed question and answer segment.
Ask your questions as fast as you can in the chat. I will do speed round. If you type a paragraph, I will not read it. I can only go with quick questions. So if you have like 3 lines of whatever, I'm skipping it. Okay, so speed round, go fast questions. Fant, top six with Rodgers. Definitely feel like that's potential. Rodgers is staying. Adam, rewatch. You've got a Packers avatar, bro. It's pretty clear why you're saying that. Aaron Rodgers is gone, but I still appreciate you, Adam. Brofist, you're my dude, but you're wrong. I want Pitts to actually play tight end against linebackers, not the number 1 corner. Elijah Moore or Judy? Give me Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is a baller. Judy has to prove he can stay healthy. Now, if Aaron Rodgers lands in Denver, then you have a potential situation where I'm talking about Judy maybe more than Moore. So we'll see. Quarterbacks obviously dependent or manipulates the answer here. So for now, it's Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore for now. Hit me. Fast questions. Go. Has to be quick. Trade Chubb for DK and Odell and Dynasty. I probably... If you can win now, you might want to roll with Chubb, but I believe Chubb could have 1 year left before we start worrying about him, and he could even have that year. I'm not saying I'm avoiding him yet, but I'm very, very cautious about drafting Chubb in 2022. I think he has this one potential year, but potential risk of getting hurt. So DK, at least, he's just still getting started. He's still young. So I want to say DK, but depends on if you can win now. Thoughts on ETN? I like ETN a lot. Look, J.K. Dobbins suffered the bigger injury, the ACL tear. I think ETN could come back and have a real nice bounce back season, sophomore year. I like him a lot. Just make sure you're not overdrafting him. Just make sure you're not taking him way too high. Where are you drafting Jordan Love? Who is Jordan Love, Jacob? Why would I draft a guy named Jordan Love? No, I'm not drafting him at all. I don't care. I'm not drafting him at all. There's no point in a draft where I'm drafting Jordan Love, period. But I appreciate you. Brofist, Jacob. Kenny. Bobby Tunyon. What about him? I mean, I like him, but he's got, no quarterback potentially thrown to him, so c'est la vie. CJ, I think I would have been PPR sleeper if Robinson didn't tear his ACL. I think he would have been... Who are you talking about, Adam? Redraft number 1 QB. It's Josh Allen, the same QB it was for me last year. Now everybody loves Josh Allen. He was my number 1 QB in 2021. When are you doing auction draft rankings? If you go to sleeperu.com, my rankings are auction and regular. 365, broski. Where do you go? Where do you go?
Want bold year-round rankings, trade calculators, and bold predictions? Get on over to sleeperu.com.
Constantly updated, 365, 24/7, Dynasty, Redraft, Super Rookie, Rookie Only, Top 200, Auction, dollars attached to the ranking, and everything. Year-round, baby. Year-round. That's where you find them. Breakout wide receiver next season. I mean, it's easy to say Amon-Ra St. Brown, but a lot of people feel that's going to be the case. But Elijah Moore, a lot of people like him as well. That could be the case there as well. I think I'll have to dig a little deep. A lot of these guys will be like rejuvenated bounce backs, like even McLaurin. The main commander. McLaurin could be a top 6 to 10 wide receiver if he just gets a quarterback. And now you can trade for him at value that doesn't consider that. The risk is all baked in. Completely baked in. Last question. Number 1 redraft NFL rookie draft running back. That was a mouthful. I mean, right now it's Kenneth Walker, but I like Breece Hall a lot. I like Rachaad White a lot. It depends on landing spots, but right now you got to go Kenneth Walker, man. He's loaded. He's ready. He looks like a beast. People say this draft class is weak, but I beg to differ. I think there are always talents hiding around.
Random topic time.
So I just want to say thank you again for helping this channel grow. You guys are the people. You are the channel. You are my people, and I appreciate every one of you. We're gonna get crazy up in this mug in 2022, and we're gonna bring the content like crazy. We are one of the only Monday through Friday fantasy shows at a set time on top of all the other content I do. But I wanted to first tell you guys the main thing I wanted to tell you here in this random topic was to go follow the new channel. The new channel, I'm going to drop it in the live stream right now. I would like you to all follow the new channel. I'm going to look and make sure the numbers are going up. They're literally, I'm going to pin this link right now. Pin link. It is pinned. There are about 50, depending on the platforms, I guess we're looking at like about 70 people across all platforms, 50 on YouTube alone. So I dropped the link in YouTube. I want to see 50 subscriptions right now. We have 173 subscribers on the brand new Dynasty Clip channel. What is the Dynasty Clip channel, Smitty? Well, it's this right here. Let me take a screenshot of it and show you. It is nothing but short form Dynasty clips. Okay, we called it the Clip channel at first, and I've since turned it into the Dynasty Clip channel. The link is pinned in the YouTube chat, the live YouTube chat right now. You can also get to it if you're watching the replay. I'll put the link in the comments and in the description, and I'll pin the comment saying, here's the link to the new Dynasty Clip channel. But you can also go to smitty1.com at any time. Go there now. I'm going to refresh. There are literally 50 of you in here. We should go from 170 to in the 220s immediately. I'm going to keep refreshing. I'm looking for my people to support the new Dynasty Clip channel. It doesn't mean I'm taking away anything from the Dynasty content on the big channel. These are short form Dynasty clips that a lot of times have original content tied to them though. So what I might do is take a redraft clip about Adams and say, hey, this is where Adams goes. And then I didn't talk about Dynasty and I should have. I'll clip that. I'll put it on the Clip channel and I'll wrap it in content and say, look, here's what I say about Devontae Adams in redraft. And at the end, I'm going to talk about what I didn't talk about, which is the Dynasty side. And then the whole clip is just original content mixed with a clip from the channel. Is the design of a Clips channel is to take content from the main channel and grab clips of it so that people don't have to dive through an entire 2-hour live stream. I do hour and 2-hour and 3-hour live streams. A lot of content goes unseen by people that can't watch a 3-hour clip. So that's the whole design of this, but I'm wrapping it in original content. And let me see how many of you 50 people in this YouTube live are subbing up. Okay, a couple of you. We could use a few more. I've linked it in the description or in the chat. So hit it, please. And you can go to Smitty1.com. Chandler already subscribed. Blake says no one grinds like Smitty. I appreciate that in all the ways that you meant it, Blake. Appreciate you, pal. Spiller, I like Spiller a lot. Spiller has some good upside for rookies. Smitty dropped suit for one episode. Put on a suit for one episode. Maybe, bro. We do it our own way here. We got the skeleton already subbed. Appreciate you. Let's refresh this bad boy. Who's subscribing? Okay, the numbers are rising.
That's a wrap, people. Time to get burrowed.
Thank you all for joining me during this lovely episode, Thursday edition of the Fantasy Football Show live. And we are Monday through Friday. Know that. Appreciate all of you being in here. Appreciate you, Blake. Blake says I helped him win his championship. Appreciate that, Blake. Like the video, help the show. And also, make sure you subscribe if you're new. Like if you're new or not new. But also, I wanted to say to you, please leave a comment and let me help you. Allow me to help you. Allow me to talk to you in the chat, because once the video ends, there are 0 comments. And your man Smitty will answer your questions for the next 12 to 24 hours. Every single one of you, 99% chance that I'll answer every one of your questions that you post in the next 12 to 24 hours. I appreciate every single one of you. You are my people. This is the Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, and it's been an honor coming back. Oh, man, I was so sick yesterday. I feel okay. I'm still definitely under the weather, but it's my honor to be here with you every single day, whether I'm sick or not. Your man Smitty ain't leaving. I come to work every day.
It's throat punching season.
Chase is wide receiver. One.
Tell your grandma.
Joe Burrow. Tell your mom. Tell Bob. From accounting.
Tell your grandma.
One.
Javante season.
It's throat punching season.
It's throat punching. It's throat punching.
It's throat punching season.
Joe Burrow. Tell your mom.
Javante season.
Tell your mom. Tell Bob. From accounting.
Chase is wide receiver. One.